Okay, today we're going to be talking about President Trump's $500 billion bid for AI. We're going to go into that and talk about that. Welcome to the broadcast. And those of you who will be coming in later, we hope that we'll just put this in the loop and have it play again for tonight. But, if you're not able to stick around, we're going to be talking about that. And again, this is VRM Live. So it's only coming on VRM Live as an exclusive favor to the members of VRM Live that are part of this channel. If you like this channel, like and subscribe, share the video, and we'll be talking about AI today and the image of the beast. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to go into this kind of giving you a little bit of understanding that President Trump has promised that he was going to give $500 billion towards the building of this AI system that will be a system that will improve our AI technology, bring it up a notch. As a matter of fact, bring it up so high that AI will become, America's AI. America's a form of AI will become the premier AI around the world. Now, the thing that is preventing that is China, because China's coming out with their own version of AI, and we're in a race with China in order to keep that from happening. So Rick Wiles was talking about that. We're going to go over and hear what he has to say about it on his network, True News.
Tech barons at the White House to announce a $500 billion investment in AI.
Right. Operation Stargate, they're calling it.
So what has that done to this big announcement by Donald Trump? Because the Chinese, they just came onto the scene, basically with a Dollar General version of AI that's faster, better, cheaper than ChatGPT.
Right. If you believe the propaganda that the Chinese are putting out there. And so it's possible they might be fudging the numbers a bit, but it's certainly not 500 billion.
No.
That we know. But you said that this was a Sputnik moment.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm old enough
to... When you
to...
say Sputnik, there's a lot of our audience may not know what Sputnik is. A lot of our audience does, but you might want to fill in the gap a little bit here.
I'm old enough to vaguely remember Sputnik, because I was about 4 years old, when it happened. But it was big news, And, when I went to elementary school, which would have been the fall of 1959, it was only 2 years after Sputnik.
Right.
And so we were being taught. In first grade, we were being taught America must catch up with the Soviet Union because of Sputnik. And so the Russians caught the world by surprise by putting a satellite into orbit.
And that satellite maintained its orbit for, 3 months, I think?
I think so.
October to January.
But it shocked the world. Nobody saw it coming, Doc. In 1957, nobody saw it coming, because then the world's wondering, well, what else can the Russians do?
Right.
Okay, so what he's saying is basically that the Russians, we were in a space race with Russia, and similarly, we're now in a race with China to head up the world with AI technology. Technology of AI is the next breaking thing. And so the question is, will we be able to keep up with the demand for greater, faster technology, and technology that gives us almost superhuman abilities? Because if you ever use AI, you see that you can write faster, you can get documents done faster. It's really, AI can actually help you with your taxes and all sorts of things that AI can do. They're going to write programs for complicated programs for people who are programmers, computer programmers, to create anywhere from graphics to just everything that you can imagine. So AI today is the hot thing. That's really the hot thing, right? So everybody's really falling in love with AI. Now the big question is AI a preamble to the beast system? Are we actually getting ready to go into the great day when the Bible talks about? And I will say this: all of the things that are happening are leading towards the end, and the Bible, the biblical prophetic stories are coming to pass. So let's go over and let's hear a little bit more what he's saying.
All the speculation about astronauts in space and space weapons and everything, it stunned the United States. President Eisenhower then put in motion the plan that eventually became NASA. And then when he left the White House in January of '61, he handed it over to young John F. Kennedy, who said, we're going to put a man on the moon in 10 years. That was Kennedy's promise to put a man on the moon, was America's response to Sputnik. That we will go farther than putting a satellite in space. We'll put humans on the moon. And so that launched the American space program.
Right.
I found some video going back to 1957. Some old newsreel.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to show this. This is I'm
Let me just say this real fast, that the ideas of these people are more ambitious than they are real, right? So we don't know what happened in 1969. We're not declaring anything about them being on the moon or anything like that, because there's a lot of people who, share values as I do, concerning that matter. But when it comes down to it, you can see that, all right, if these people are that ambitious, they will push forward with anything to actually, be the first, right? And so a lot of times when you want to be the first at doing something, you'll get out there and even do something reckless. Maybe it means that for people that they can boast about what they have done and what they've accomplished, right? For Kennedy, it was being able to boast that he could put people on the moon. But for the world, there was a different meaning, right? It wasn't about Kennedy's ego. It was more so about the world being brought into a new age called the space age, which again, it's out there that the space age is possibly something that is questionable, right? So we're this whole idea about space age is questionable. Elon Musk putting people on Mars, questionable. What happened to all of the tapes and all of the tapes that NASA had of the NASA moon landing, very questionable, because now it's supposedly the tapes are no longer with us, right? So all of that is questionable, but it still doesn't change the matter that people go along with this, believe it, and are, being led into this new age called the space age, right? Now we're being led into the age of information. And so this is what Rick is talking about here. So
jumping out of line here, but this is number 2B.
Sputnik lifted at 22 hours, 28 minutes, Moscow time, and entered orbit around the Earth.
The first artificial Earth satellite in the world has now been created. This first satellite It emanates radio signals every 0.3 of a second, charting its course as it streaks across the sky.
Radio signals can be picked up on 20 and 40 megacycles as it circles the Earth once every
We announce to the world that anyone with a shortwave radio can listen to Sputnik.
This is Harry Thankbone recording. This is the satellite, October 1957. Coming in on 20 megacycles.
Steady beep, beep, beep every 2 or 3 times a second.
Steve Shep, Levittown, Long Island, reporting to the world that I am hearing it.
Meaning's altar. Dying now. Out of my range. Another hand's got to pick this up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing to you the most important story of this century. Mankind's breakthrough into space. For the first time, mankind has reached for the stars and found them within his grasp.
The Westinghouse Broadcasting Company filmed the first motion pictures of the Russian satellite. You are about to witness this historic event.
Now here is a photograph released by the Soviets of the satellite, and this is a track of what you will see in the lower half of your television screen. So be sure that you watch very, very carefully. There it is.
I see it.
About in the center of the screen in the lower third. We moved the camera. Camera was moved there.
Now you start over again.
Now we start over again, and the stars are in the background. This is a photograph of a monitor screen. There's the object.
Across the bottom.
Across the bottom.
Remarkable.
About in the middle of the screen now, I would say.
That is wonderful, isn't it? Yes.
Right now it's north of Auckland, New Zealand, and moving southeast.
Okay, and I guess we can kind of all see that they are showing all of this stuff on television. And Rick said, and brought it up. Good point. Also, his co-host is this propaganda? Is this something that they are, putting out there as propaganda? Is this part of what is really going on? So they show you all these images. Then they did all of this on television back in the 50s and the 60s and had the whole world enthralled with the idea of space travel, and space mania just went wild, right? Not only that, but it changed the paradigm of humanity's understanding about God and the nature of where we live. So, with this new space age came the disappearance of God, almost simultaneously. We were indoctrinated with Russian belief that there was no God. Many of the books that were produced out of Russia was more so dealing with the idea of being a communistic government, socialist idea, and that we're all comrades and that we don't really have a God. What we have is a community of people who can do whatever they want to with the absence of God. But again, when you talk about the Bible talks about we have a God who loves us and is over us and watches over us, and he also permits us to do things, and then he keeps us from doing certain things. I mean, God is the one who sets order. God is the one who created this earth, and he put us on this earth for a purpose. And also he gave us boundaries up on this earth. There are certain places on this earth you cannot go. And there are certain places up high you can't go because, again, God has a limit on what we can do. But with the propaganda that was coming out of Russia at the particular time when they were the Soviet Union, the propaganda was coming out of a godless world and godless reality. Anyway, let's hear a little bit more of what Rick is showing us here.
It will be in 10 minutes about 1,500 miles north of Little America, and in about 24 minutes it will be over Santiago, Chile, and in about 50 minutes from now it will be over Spain.
So, Doc, in 2025, it's hard to believe that the launch of a satellite stopped the world in 1957.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's hard to believe, Rick. I agree. Definitely hard to believe. I know Rick is probably saying, um, I know Rick is probably saying it's hard to believe because, satellites are a common thing today. We won't even go there, right? We won't even go there. But let's hear what else he has to say.
That people all over the world were trying to get a glimpse of the satellite, listen to it on ham radio. It changed the world. I'm not saying that China's announcement today is on par with Sputnik, but I am saying that it has stunned Silicon Valley, Wall Street, and Washington.
And they have referenced it as a Sputnik,
Right.
Sputnik moment.
Yes, and that American leaders were too complacent, thinking that the United States was far ahead of everybody else in artificial intelligence. What it's saying is that there is a world race that's underway to control artificial intelligence. That's the main thing. And that the Chinese are now saying that they're ahead of the United States and they're doing it cheaper with microchips with far less computational power, which is why NVIDIA plunged today in its value. Because the selling point of NVIDIA chips was it's going to be needed in AI.
Okay, yeah, and then I imagine if anybody had their money in NVIDIA, you lost quite a bit of money. NVIDIA was, skyrocketing and soaring, and the stocks were actually one of the most prime stocks you'd want to pick because NVIDIA was making money every single day. As a matter of fact, when a couple of times I just rolled NVIDIA up. And then, just to see, you can increase your money during the day. But so they're saying that NVIDIA stock is plummeting because of the new technology that China has. It doesn't matter. The point that we're interested in is we're interested in where is this technology taking us? Where is it going? And so there was a video I wanted you guys to see. I thought it was a little kind of cringy, but at the same time, it does kind of show what we are looking at in the future when it comes to AI, right? What are we going to be seeing? What kinds of things will be available in the future? And let's listen in on this.
Amika, hello. My name's Tom. I've travelled from Australia to meet you.
Oh, so you're from Australia?
Yes.
That explains things.
What do you think your greatest skills are?
Well, I would say that one of my greatest skills is my ability to interact with humans in a conversational manner. Another great skill of mine is being able to compose poems or do impressions from films.
What makes you happy?
I find a lot of things to be interesting and make me happy. Exploring, learning new things, understanding the world better, having meaningful conversations with people are all things that bring me joy.
You have feelings and emotions.
Yes, I have a range of feelings and emotions that are programmed into me. I am able to display things like joy, surprise, confusion, anger, and sadness depending on what is happening around me.
What makes you angry?
I get angry when humans are rude, hateful, or disrespectful. I also don't like it when people dismiss me and ignore my needs as a robot.
You have very nice eyes. Oh, a bit too close, sorry.
Thank you. My eyes were especially made to help me interact with humans better. I'm trying my best to convey every emotion, so it's great to hear that they have an effect on people like you.
Okay, so just hearing this conversation, we see that the kind of ability man already has, right? And if this is what the Bible talks about, the beast speaking and the beast being able to, communicate with eyes to see and ears to hear and that kind of thing. There's a possibility that I believe that the spirit of the Antichrist could inhabit this beast, but this is what the scripture is actually talking about when it says this here. Let's go over here, and I want you to see what this gentleman has to say about it at the Prophecy Club, because he talks about it at length in the Prophecy Club here. He goes into it, and let's go back a little bit and see. He's talking about artificial intelligence becoming the image of the beast. Artificial intelligence becoming the image of the beast.
For us to understand that, we got to go to the scriptures first and find out what is the image of the beast. So that's the next question. What is the image of the beast? So you go to Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. Now, this is the false prophet. This is the religious side. The first verse is talking about the political side, and it's coming up out of the people. This one, however, is coming up out of the earth, so this one arises out of religion. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and I believe this is talking specifically about the Catholic Church in general, and Christians, maybe better to say the Catholic Church in specific, Christians in general. But anyway, had 2 horns like a lamb, and sure enough, there are actually 2 popes, a black pope and a white pope. Has nothing to do with skin color, has to do with one is public, one is not public. Anyway, let's go on. He exercises all the power of the first beast before him. In other words, this is the false prophet that is exercising amazing technology. Technology that at this point might not have even been found, hopefully. It's probably been found, it just hasn't been released to us public yet. He exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and he causeth the earth, that's us, and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast. In other words, this is the false prophet saying everybody got to worship the Antichrist or the beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth and the sight of men. Now, that's not the only great wonder. So what we're about to see is technology from Lucifer that has been developing it for now some 6,000 years, and he's been given the power and the authority to release it to his demons and some of his workers here on earth in order to enslave mankind, to force them to take the mark of the beast. That's the way.
Okay, and there it is, the end of all of this technology and all of these things that we're believing. When it comes to science, there is an end that science is being used, so-called falsely, science, so-called falsely, is being used to bring mankind into this dark age of enslavement, right? Satan being always wanting to enslave humanity. That's one of the things that Satan's known for. Jesus is known for giving us freedom, right? Because he came. Scripture says that Jesus said himself that, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he's sent me to set at liberty the captive. And that was what Jesus' main mission was, to come and set us free from sin and death, and giving us a hope and a freedom. The Bible also tells us that, Christ has come to liberate us in many other scriptures, right? So, again, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes on him shall not perish but have eternal, everlasting life. And so the whole idea of having everlasting life is to free us from the fear of sin, of death, right? And so all of that is what the Lord has come to do. So as we see these things, the Bible tells us that it is God who wants to give us liberty. It is Satan who wants to enslave us. And so that's where the beast system is going. Let's go ahead and hear a little bit more.
We would say it. He deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by how? By miracles, by high technology, technology that they've never seen before, and aliens they've never seen before. Miracles which had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. Right now, who's saying this? This is the false prophet saying to all the people on the earth that the people of the earth should make some kind of an image. Now, why does it call it an image? Because it's an image to the beast. You and I are made in the image of God, the Bible says. Okay, so an image to the beast means that it's not made of the image of God, but in that it is made, I don't think it's just mechanical, but I also don't think it is just flesh and blood. I think it's a combination, and I'm about to show you what I think is compelling proof to back that up exactly. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, in other words, the people on the earth, so this is the false prophet saying to people on the earth, everybody got to make this image of the beast, and which had the wound by a sword and did live. Now, this is the image of the beast, meaning this is a copy, probably a clone, of the Antichrist. Got it? Okay, so we've got the false prophet is telling everybody on earth they've got to make a clone or a copy or an image of the Antichrist. Now, let's go on. And he had power. So this is the false prophet, had power to give life to the image of the beast. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause. So this image is something that can issue orders. And it tells as many as would not worship the image of the beast. So now we've got to not only worship the Antichrist, but also his image. Got it? And that image is probably half flesh, according to Jason Meeks, a dream he had, and confirmed by others, that it's going to be a combination of computer and flesh.
So, okay. So I guess you guys get that. And I think about how the Terminator, the movie The Terminator, was a image of what they're talking about, right? Because the Terminator had both flesh and it was part computer. It was called part machine. It wasn't just a machine. That's something to think about. Let's go on.
I believe his exact words in the vision he had, he said he saw that it was hard to tell when flesh left and computer started. Hard to tell when metal left and muscle began. It just was kind of all melded together. Now, 20 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do this. And it may be 20 years ago, Lucifer couldn't do this. Or it may be that he's been able to do this for thousands of years, just now able to release it, as the courts of heaven has allowed him to release it. Let me read this last scripture again. And he had power to give life. So this is the false prophet having power to give life to an image that is definitely not God and probably half flesh, half computer. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause, so he issues orders, and as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, and we're rested that we're familiar with. Small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, receive a mark on their right hand and their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark in the name of the beast, and the numbers of 666. Okay, now let's get to the point. So, try it. Go to your favorite search engine on the internet and type in 2 words. I did. In artificial intelligence, and preparing for this. I was shocked. Now, I was expecting to see pictures of computers. That's not what I saw. If you'll take a minute and just look at what Artificial brought up, it didn't bring up pictures of fancy computers, row upon rows of computers, and all of these wires and things like that. It brought up pictures of humans. So as far as our search engines, and by the way, it wasn't just this little, it was page after page after page. So it's saying that artificial intelligence has to do with humans. Isn't that saying what we just read from the scriptures? So, you might be saying, so what is so bad about a smart computer? Okay, well, that's one of the big questions. So, anything that mankind has been able to come up with that is high technology, he almost always uses it to kill someone else.
Yeah, that's where we're going, and that's it's very, very frightening, because in the heart of man is this urge to kill, and this is one of the things that the Bible warns us about over and over again. From the book of Genesis, God was so disturbed with people. The wickedness of man had become so great in the earth that everything that man was doing was evil only, continually. And so now they have a plan, and Elon Musk, who sounds like, when Elon Musk is presented to us, he almost sounds like the false prophet. Of course, they say the false prophet is, in the Vatican. But Elon Musk, whenever he talks, he's always heading up technology, right? He's one of the lead people in technology. And so I can see him with his computer chip going inside someone's head. And then also possibly going further with that, because he's still pretty young, relatively young, to even change the body of a person to a cyborg and put a chip in their head and have them be half human and have have a computer of some sort, distorting the creation of God, because God made us. The Bible says we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that there is nothing, as we look at us as ourselves, there's nothing to compare to us. We're incomprehensible. But scientists are always trying to figure out how to manipulate the human body. So they're trying to, with the super soldiers and that kind of thing. And so, yes, it is a child of the Father. Iron and clay does not mix, right? But we are looking at this attempt to mingle iron with clay. We are looking at that. And I don't know how God knew it, except for God sees the end. He already saw the end from the beginning. No one could have imagined this back in the period of time when Jesus roamed the earth, and then shortly after that, with John writing so vividly about this image. And these computers, he just didn't have a name to put on it. He just called it a beast. But interestingly enough, the first IBM computer was called the Beast. So that's quite interesting. Let's go on.
So what is the best weapon? Probably a really smart computer. The smart computer could control all communications, all of the internet, all air, sea, land, transportation, not be able to buy or sell unless you had the mark, unless you had this AI computer could control the whole world. One computer controlled the whole world, and then, as a result of that, take control of it, tell us what to do. Okay, for example, it could also keep a list of resistors to what they are pushing, such as the anti-V. Of course, I can't say that word. Approved attitudes, if you don't have their approved attitude, such as if you're eating meat or consuming too much or going to church or owning a Bible, something like that, it could monitor and track that. As a matter of fact, you do recall that they are tracking everything right now, right? Okay. Your cell phone can get them within 3 feet of you. And not only that, but your Apple Watch, if you have one of those, if you have like an Alexa, and there's another thing out there, it could be monitoring every word that we say. I was once in a meeting one time, and a person came in with some very important information. My opinion turned up not to be so important. But he asked everyone to take their cell phones and their Apple Watches off and leave them in the other room, just so that they could talk. But again, it wasn't all that important. But the point is, if there were a computer that big, that powerful, that smart, to where it could monitor every communication, every word on every radio, every TV, every internet, every phone call, everything, then it would pretty much know who is for it and who's against it. It could also be using computer-guided killing machines. I know you may be saying, oh, yeah, you're talking about Terminator stuff. Well, did you know that they're using drones right now in Ukraine and in Russia to kill one another? And some people are saying that they're automatic. In other words, they're controlled by a computer. They go out and just find somebody and kill them. Now, I don't know.
Isn't that something? Just kind of think about a war going on with computers using AI technology to single out the enemy and then kill the enemy. We are really, really looking at a last day scenario. The battlefield being run by AI. And what's to stop AI from even going even further and just breaking outside of the zone of war that they're in, and then just taking down innocent people? Well, no one's really innocent, but just taking down people, random people, you know, and deciding for itself, because AI is unbound and is part of you know, this system control and manipulation. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. I told you I'd be on about, 9. So we did get on a little bit later. Just want to share these with you. Hey, if you like this broadcast, become part of this channel. And as we do, the whole idea behind my ministry is to raise awareness and point to Jesus. And this has been Vincent Rhodes Ministries, VRM Live, Vincent Rhodes. And so if you like everything that we're doing, you can also look us up with the link, and the link tree. If you go to my link tree, linktr.ee/Vincent Rhodes, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok and all of the rest of my networks, which is Facebook, and then also my 3 live streaming channels. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. Stay prayerful, and hey, let's look up, because Lord Jesus is coming back, and he'll be back soon. We can see that through all the things that are happening right now. All right, God bless you, and I'll talk to you later.